Ready? Should we start the meeting?
Sure.
Everyone could stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Welcome.
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Armstrong,
Here.
Fallon,
Here.
Farrell. Here. Miller,
Here.
Wood. Here. Mayor Walker.
Here,
Oh, pretty darn good. I'm impressed. All right. So next we go to additions and amendments to the agenda.
Yeah, item 7B, Karen Davis is ill today, so the Forest Service will not be here until our next meeting on January 10th.
Okay. Any other amendments?
No other changes.
No other changes? We get a motion to approve the,
I move that we,
How's the consent agenda?
Oh.
Yeah, you don't have to motion the changes.
okay.
I move we adopt the consent agenda minutes.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now we go to approval of the November 22nd.
We just did that.
Okay,
That
that's it. All right, and the ratification of bills.
Yep. That's what
All
we
right,
did.
good job. Public hearing?
We have none.
None. All right, action items. Appointment to committees.
We have none.
By golly, we're going through this, aren't we?
Oh, we got the easy part done.
All right, so appointment to fill city council vacancy.
You have the staff report and the mayor's recommendation.
Open for discussion.
I'd like to start it off.
You can take your mask off so we get a nice recording, please.
As much as I respect the mayor and his opinion, I find that I think Peter would make a great counselor, but Jeremiah was first hired by the port as a bridge manager. Because of his excellent organizational skills, he has been promoted to operations manager. But he is ahead of the game here because he knows what the city of Cascade Locks needs and he knows how to get it. He has shown an interest by attending council meetings for this past year, which to me are big bonus points. So for me, I would be voting for Jeremiah.
Thank you. Tammy or Brenda?
I like all of the candidates and I appreciate anybody that's willing to come forward and volunteer your time for anything for our community. It's a commitment and it's not always an easy position because you have to kind of hold yourself to a higher standard of the community, to not get into all the drama that goes on. My personal vote, I would like to Eric Keller. And my reason for being is because of the education in there. And that is some goal down the road of getting our high school possibly back. And that he has a child that's in our elementary school. So he actually has experience within the school system on a personal level as well. And I like our elementary school and all that. And for me, I think all of them are good candidates. I mean, no one's a bad one, but he just stood up most to me, whatever, went through my thinking of it.
Thank you.
Okay, so procedurally, here's how we could proceed. We can have a secret ballot, and it takes 4 votes for an affirmative selection. We can have 1 ballot, and then if nobody gets 4 votes, the lowest vote getter would be eliminated, and then we would revote for the 2. You could do that way, or one of you could be brave enough to make a motion, and then we vote on it in public. And again, 4 votes is required. We haven't heard from Bob or Julie yet, but
Right.
Whichever way you want to do it. I have secret ballots here.
How you gonna do that on the phone?
They can text me.
Oh, okay.
I'm open to hearing everyone's agenda or opinion. I'd like to hear from Mayor Walker,
Thank you, Deb,
Julie.
Kathy.
What's that?
I said, thank you. I hadn't heard from Tamara yet.
Right.
You want me to go ahead of you? Okay. I appreciate all 3 candidates. This was a really, really hard choice for me. But after going back and forth, I am pulled towards Jeremiah the most because he knows so much about the town already, besides him showing up to city council meetings too. And I really think that we need another strong person in if we're going to try to get a police force in here. We need someone that really knows how things are working and where we need the improvement. And anyway, so my vote would go towards Jeremiah.
Okay. Thank you. Julie?
From what I've heard, I like all of the candidates. I'm torn between 2 of them, and I really like that Jeremiah has been to so many meetings and is so involved with other things. How does conflict of interest work with the port and the city?
Anytime a topic comes to the city council that involves the port in any financial way, Mr. Blue would have to declare a potential conflict of interest and not be part of the discussion or vote unless his vote is required to make a majority.
Okay. I really lean towards Jeremiah. So that was my only concern.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chairman, may I have a minute?
Sure.
Here's my line of thought. Jeremy, of course, we've all seen has, or Jeremiah, I'm sorry, has, we've all seen come to the council meetings. His job with the port speaks for itself. My issue is with conflict of interest. You know, when a subject comes up that is involved with funding or money, course, we all know that would be an opportunity for him to cite a conflict of interest and abstain. But that also, in my mind, would concern, let's say the port builds a new building and a business has a need. The port has, by building the building, contributed financially. I just think that there are a lot of instances where he would have to abstain from a vote because of that financial interest. So much of what we talk about the port doing has a financial interest to it. The reason I went with Pete was that he's exactly the demographic that I think is underrepresented. Of course, Julie is a young person with a family and ties to the community. But that's just one vote. And from the description that Pete gave of his situation, he's a young man that served in the Navy, in submarines, and has a family, started out in Hood River and got priced out of there and came to Cascade Locks. To me, that shows somebody that, needs a voice on the city council. And that's why I went with Pete. And, again, Jeremiah, his accomplishments speak for themselves. The other gentleman who is, of course, a teacher, very good candidate, and could also serve as a good council person. But I lean towards Pete and hope that he would make a good council person. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would like to address the conflict of interest part. We had a counselor on the last board whose husband was president of the board. So, and that council ran very well. So I don't see that this is really that big of an issue. I think it can be handled easily and with him recusing himself. I mean, we faced this problem before and we'll probably face it again. It's a small town. So.
Okay, thank you. Well, I thank all the candidates, everyone for coming and clear. It was a really, really tough decision. Very, very tough. I kind of weighed everything out. I mean, shoot, you have military, you have a teacher, you have, port, and appreciate you coming to all the meetings. That's really, really valuable. I would lean towards Pete only because yes, we're in a small town, but there's a lot of stuff where the husband is serving this and the wife is in another part. And there's so much of that. And Pete, I felt, represented where he doesn't have any ties to anything in the town, but he is deeply committed to it. And I believe every vote counts when we're voting. And I have concerns about, having to abstain and not be able to vote. The town seems very sensitive to, well, this got voted because this is this gal's husband who's charged of it. I've heard it now. I've only been here 4 years, but I've heard a lot of it. So that was my decision on why I came up with Pete. And so I would be for Pete.
Okay, so with that public ballot, we have 3 votes for Jeremiah, 2 votes for Pete, and 1 for Eric.
Mhm.
So now's where we arm wrestle. Eric, we thank you for your service, but
Thank you.
we do have openings on the budget committee, and you can get into the volunteers that way. Julie has a question.
I don't know if it matters, but after hearing Kathy and Mayor Walker, I'd kind of like to change my vote if it matters.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree about, I do agree with the conflict of interest, and I do think a lot of people would have issues with it. I'm thinking back over conversations over the last couple of years with people, and I'm gonna lean towards Pete now, or vote for Pete.
Okay, we have 1 switch. It's now 2 for Jeremiah, 3 for Pete, and Brenda has the opportunity to recast her vote.
No, I'm gonna stick with what I said. I'm good.
Okay.
Well,
Thank
okay,
you.
but
It don't really matter if I change it.
yes, because we need 4 votes for one of the candidates in order to seat them. And
Wow.
now we have 2 and 3. And
Can I secretly do it then? Or we're gonna
Well,
keep doing it publicly?
We're trying
we've been
really
doing
hard.
it publicly, so
Well, that's a bad spot to be in.
No pressure, Brenda.
so and if you did vote secretly, we would all know because there's 2 and 3.
Yeah, I would have to lean toward Pete, because I do believe there could and probably will be conflict of interest. I do appreciate that Jeremiah Blue is always at our council meetings and all that, because I think even if you're not on council, it's good to be involved in your community and know what's going on. So given that, I would have to go with Pete as well.
So now we have 4 for Pete and 2 for Jeremiah.
Okay.
We want to solidify that in a voice vote, or is this acceptable for you all after you've made your public statements?
Is everybody good with how we voted?
I think so, after what
Okay.
you had me just do.
Okay,
Mayor Walker, how do you?
I think we've already, when we
Okay.
did it publicly, we've already voiced our opinions.
Okay.
so we have our city recorder, Kathy Woosley with us tonight, who is ready to swear in Pete if he was here.
Okay, but I also just have one more thing. We do need a motion.
We do the motion. Okay, so
Need a motion?
All right, I'll make a motion that we fill our city council vacancy with Pete Happy.
Need a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
Okay.
5-1. Thank you. We will see him at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Or maybe I'll see if I can contact him.
Okay. yeah,
Okay.
I don't have his phone. We have his.
I have his phone, I'll see if I can email.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. It was a tough decision.
And I'm sure you're going to stick around. So
Yes, please.
thank you.
Okay. And then next, it looks like 5C, appoint council president.
Yes, and any of you are available except the mayor.
Mayor Walker, do you want to talk?
Well, I would like to, but again, Gordon, did you just say my vote does not count on this?
No, you're here. You
Okay.
are not eligible to be the council president because you are the mayor.
I see. Okay. Well, this was a tough one. Everybody on the council has worked very hard. It's just that everybody has shown the ability to make decisions. And I'd like to nominate Kathy. I think that she's done an excellent job showing her leadership. She's sat in for me 2 times before. I think she showed her leadership at the meet and greet. And I just trust her judgment. I think she goes to a lot of meetings and heads a lot of meetings in her private job. And so she knows what it takes. And I'm sure that she'd do a good job in my absence.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Do you feel railroaded yet?
No. So all in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
Julie's a 4.
All opposed?
I abstain.
Okay.
Brendan, did we get your vote?
I'll stay too. Let's
Okay.
go for someone else.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Motion carries 4 to 0 to 2.
Okay. 5D, approve resolution number 1468, Hood River garbage rate increase. Discussion?
I don't think we have much of a choice, I don't think, so.
So we make a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the rate increase for the Hood River County service.
For a second.
Second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, Bobby, did you vote?
No, I did not. I'm going to vote aye. I think the reasons for the rate increase to me sounded like it was out of the control of anything Hood River Garbage was doing. It's all due to external reasons, and we've all known what the fuel has done. So I'm going to vote aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay.
Were we gonna find out more information on?
I talked to Mr. Winterbottom today. He's going to come back to us hopefully in January with the options on the free garbage service and prices versus mandatory versus subscription. So
Okay,
it takes a little more information to come through.
okay.
All right. Item 6, appearance of interested citizens to share a variety of perspectives, issues facing. Jeremiah?
Yeah, had an opportunity to attend virtually the county commission meeting on December 6th. And it looked real close, like they were moving towards the idea of voting on the redistricting. And I just appreciate Chair Oates for slowing that down and saying there's some voices that need to be heard in Cascade Locks versus some perspectives that need to be given, and committing to showing up there tonight and entertaining our thoughts on those things. So I just wanted to tell them we appreciate that. And ultimately it was voted unanimously for them to slow down and hear what Cascade Locks had to say, but I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Reports and presentations, city committees.
We have none.
All right. Karen Davis, no, that was moved to January. So 7B is moved to January.
We have with us Mr. Jeff Exel, the county administrator, and Chair Michael Oakes of the county commission. You want to step up to the table? And we can fire our darts and slings and arrows at it.
That's why I wore the mask.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, this was the material that was in the board packet. The most recent board packet. It's a little bit different than what you had seen previously. And I thought you would appreciate that.
You're up.
I think I'll go ahead and start. The material I handed out is largely the same as what city councilors had seen prior to this meeting. One of the biggest differences would have been in option 3. There was a change in terms of the percentages of population in each of the commissioner districts. And it's not as equal now. After they went through it, they made some adjustments in the numbers. That was one of the big differences. There were 4 questions that were in front of the commission that had come from the commission that staff followed up at the last meeting. One of them was to redo the maps and show the roads on the maps, so that there are roads on the maps now. One had to do with the population decline, particularly in the Upper Hood River Valley, and what were the possible reasons for that. And unfortunately, the census data at this point doesn't have enough detail so that we're able to answer that. The concern is there are a number of dark homes, or potentially there's an undercount. But I think the bigger concern is what percentage of the existing housing stock has been converted to second homes. And so those people don't live there full time, and so they're not counted in the census. And so you see a population. We don't know that, but certainly that's possible. So that was one issue. The third issue had to do with a little finger that is in the Hood River area, Westcliff Drive, and whether that should be in District 4 or District 3. And so there was some discussion about that, and the commissioners went through that based on the information that was provided. The fourth issue had to do with kind of process, timeline, and public outreach. Where the county is at this particular point in time is we need to have a second reading of an ordinance by the regular meeting in January for the commissioners to allow staff enough time to make the changes necessary for the May ballot. And so the goal is to have that second reading January 18th, I think, is the meeting. 17th is a holiday. To be able to do that, the board will have to have a special meeting in January. So they'll have a first reading and then the second reading at their regular meeting. And in doing so, that allowed us to be here tonight. We're happy to be able to be here and receive comments from all of you about what your thoughts are as it relates to a district. So the board did change course a little bit to allow a little bit extra time for public comment. There will be a hearing on this, and the broader public will be able to comment. And we have gotten some comments, or at least one comment from one interested citizen as it relates to this particular issue. So with that, the material is here. I realize you just got it. You haven't had a chance to look at it. It is largely the same, though, exception of 3. The staff's recommendation to the commission was for option 4, and there are some specific reasons for that. And if you would like to know what those are, I'm happy to share those. So I think with that, I can answer that question if you want to know that, or if you have other questions, Chair Oates and I would be happy to answer those.
I'd like to hear your.
Sure. So one of the things for the elections department that they have to take into consideration is their ability to make all these changes. It's depending on where the lines are drawn, you have to start moving addresses and people between districts, and it potentially affects a variety of ballots because there are different ballots that go out to different groups of people. And so it gets pretty complicated when you stop and consider all of the districts, the federal seats, state seats, all the various alternative ballots that can be out there. And so they're trying to minimize the number of ballots that have to be created that are different from one another. And then they have to make sure that every single address is in the right, has the right ballot. And the more changes you make, the harder that is. And we are in a compressed time frame, largely because the census was late this year due to COVID. Impacts of COVID just don't seem to
Keep
end.
coming.
So that's one thing. Secondly, in looking at this, obviously the community interest is important. And so you're trying to identify communities of interest. And so one of the reasons that this was recommended is that the Port District extends up to the Upper Hood River Valley. And so there's a commonality there. And then the other commonality is with the community college district. And so there creates some uniformity there in terms of the districts. So that was a plus for putting it this way. And then the other thing that was taken into consideration was actually voting patterns. Cascade Locks tends to vote very similarly to the Upper Hood River Valley. So it seems like there's a little bit of a community of interest in that respect. And then probably the biggest reason has to do with trying to maintain equal population within the commissioner districts over time. Cascade Locks, no surprise to all of you, is growing.
Yes.
And we expect that Cascade Locks will continue to grow. And as part of the district immediately to the east, that's the other area that is going to grow significantly west of the river. And so if you take two of the fastest growing areas in Hood River County and put them in the same place, pretty soon you're going to have something that is not going to be equal to everyone else. And so that is the other reason for trying to put the lines in places where it's most likely to be successful in terms of equal population in the commissioner districts. So those are the reasons why staff recommended what they did. Getting back to the principle of one person, one vote, and that equalization is actually the reason why we go through this process. And so to be able to maintain that for as long as possible in the future is really what this is all about. So that's probably the most important thing.
Makes sense. Thank you. That's okay.
I do have one thing I'd like to add. In our county charter, it states that we conform with the concept of one person, one vote. And so when we try to divide up these districts, we try to get them as close as possible, the same amount of people in each one that are going to vote, so that everybody's vote is equal. Where we are right now with the districtings is that Cascade Locks on the west side have grown so much that you have a lot more people that are voting, which means your vote is less valuable or less precise than the other districts are. And that's one reason why we redo this every 10 years. And so when we go into this new one, it would be a good idea if you could do it so that you knew where the ones that are going to grow have room to grow without being too many people so that your vote gets reduced. Currently, and I'm not saying this to try and promote one thing or another on it. I came here to listen. I'm just telling you what I know from following the rules and regulations in our county charter. That number 4 takes the districts and makes them so that they're very, very close within, let's see, 4. within like 200 voters from the highest district to the lowest. Right now, the current one is
That was my question. I'm like, what is it currently?
It's like 1,600 difference in voters. And so make everybody's vote count the same. We're really trying to get them so the populations are very, very similar and look towards the future so that your votes will be equal to other districts in the county going forward for the next 10 years. We know where the growth's going.
So to be precise, District 1, which is where Cascade Locks is right now, 28.5% of the population is in District 1. In District 4, it's 21.7. So in Cascade Locks, if you're a voter, your vote is a little more diluted. Maybe that's not the best word, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So it's trying to get those numbers
Right.
equal and trying to, I guess, trend forward where you think the growth is going to be and ensure that hopefully those populations within each of the districts will be similar over time. That's a really tough thing to do.
Can you give me an example of what we would vote on where it would be determined by district rather by total?
The commissioner seats.
Well, that's obvious. I mean,
Yeah, but that's what this is about.
but your argument of one person, one vote is fallacious because, in my opinion, if we're going to do anything other than the commissioner's seat, but just because they have more votes doesn't give them any more power than anybody else. It's still one. You take 5 votes on the commission, and any of the ballot measures that are countywide ballot measures is going to be the total population anyway. So that one, yeah. So does a commissioner having more people in their district give them any more power? No, because they only have 1 vote. So I appreciate the idea of one person, 1 vote and dilution. I just think it's fallacious, number 1. Number 2, upper district area is not involved with the Columbia Gorge Scenic Area. And we are intimately involved with that. And that position doesn't have like interests between the two. It talks about precincts being contiguous under the state Secretary of State's rules put there at the beginning. There's no road that goes from the Upper Valley directly to Cascade Lock. That doesn't happen. And thirdly, I appreciate you coming here. I really do. Third point. Wait a minute. It's got a senior moment.
It'll come.
I'll come back to what I think about it.
I had a question. Oh,
Go ahead.
maybe it'll come back to you in a minute. But so when your county, is this registered voters or registered voters that have voted? Because those are 2 separate numbers.
It's population.
So I remember my third point.
Okay.
We are currently in discussions with Columbia Gorge Community College to move out of the Mount Hood district into the Columbia Gorge district, the Columbia Gorge Community College, which takes away that argument. Will that be done? Not today. Will it be done for the next census in 2010 or 2020? 2030, sorry. No, don't say that. Probably. So those are just my 3 arguments about, I appreciate what you're trying to do with option 4 and making it easier for staff. I just don't think that the arguments are credible enough to have that Upper Valley and Cascade Locks combined into one. I would go with 1, 2, or 3 personally.
But
The Upper Valley and your loss up there, could that have anything to do with STRs?
You could, that's a possibility. The way the county's short-term rental ordinance works, though, is it's negligible. And to be honest with you, the number of short-term rentals that we have in the whole county are pretty small, excluding the city of Hood River.
Yeah. A benefit for us going to District 4, to me, is less Perkins. I mean, I worked with Commissioner Perkins on the Energy Council, and there's nobody that works harder than he does. And so, for me, the big benefit is him.
All right.
Who could be out of office in 2 years at the next
Oh, I
election.
think,
So,
things happen.
or he could be there forever,
Yeah.
you know, but that's
He was just reelected, so.
4 years.
Any other comments?
Yeah, if I may.
Yes, please.
Gordon and I have discussed this in the recent past, and I agree wholeheartedly for what he's saying. The needs of Cascade Locks historically have been less than rightly represented by the folks voting in Hood River. And I just think this is another case where we really need to do what is best for Cascade Locks. And so that's why I said I agree with what the 3 points that Gordon was making. Thank you.
Thank you. Tammy?
I was just wanting clarification on the precincts. I noticed you have on each one, 68, 66, et cetera. And then one of them goes down to 63. That's the option 2. Can you explain a little bit what the significance of those numbers are? I mean, is there an advantage to having a smaller number as opposed to the 68, or trying to keep it the same?
You mean in terms of the number of people in the precinct?
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a great answer for that. You want it to be big enough so that, you're not potentially identifying how people vote. But I think part of it, actually, I got asked this on the radio today a little bit. The comment was made, well, our precinct's important anymore given the fact that we all vote by mail and you don't go to a polling place to vote. And, my response to that, and, is something of a response to your question as well, is when you have an election, part of what's valuable is knowing how people voted and being able to attach those votes to a geographical area is incredibly valuable because it helps you understand what people want or don't want, as the case may be. And so having those precincts and knowing precinct by precinct how people voted on a particular question is invaluable.
I'll give you an example. The Nestle question and the ballot measure, whatever, I can't remember, 1455 or whatever it was. 62 precincts voted against Nestle. 1 precinct, Cascade Locks, voted for it. That's an example of what the precincts do for you. So.
Thank you. That helps a little bit.
So we're not here to make the vote or anything for this commissioners, but we want them to understand where we're coming from. And I think we got a feel.
I don't.
You don't have a feel?
I have a feel for what you would like.
Right.
I feel for Bob and Butch. The rest of the commissioners really haven't told me. I want to know what you think.
For me, right now, I'd like to, anytime there's a change, it's something that I'm gonna go home with glasses, without a mask, that my glasses aren't fogging up to make a decision on. So, because I know they say they're minor, but I tend to be very black and white. I look at all secrecies, different changes. And so at this point, I'd like to read up more on it. That's where I'm at.
When you have the chance to do that, can you get the information to the administrative office? So I want to know what you think before I go into this next meeting.
Well, you can email me and if you'd like you want me to communicate directly to you? Is that what you would like, or?
Let's get it to the administrative office. Sort of has my email.
Okay,
Send it to me and I'll send it.
okay. Sounds good.
And I certainly, for all of you, comments, please feel free to share those.
Okay.
Gordon,
Very much.
Yes, sir.
let me make a comment, Mike Oates has shown time and time again how he fights for Cascade Locks. And this is just one of those times where we're gonna agree to disagree, but I want everybody to know that I support Mike. He's been a friend to Cascade Locks, and I, for one, just appreciate that. But this is one of those instances where we're not gonna agree.
I think the other comment is we're going to be well represented no matter what happens,
Mhm.
because these people are our neighbors. And they're concerned with
Mhm.
what we want. It's just, it doesn't really, we're a county. We're together.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Tamara, did you, or Brenda, did you want to offer any?
That was pretty much what I've lived here for almost 30 years, and Cascade Locks has not always been represented in many, many different things. The one thing that I know the most that I remember is school leaving high school. And so if in any of these options, there's a stronger one that allows people who understand more of what's happening in Cascade Locks. Geographically, they kind of know what's going on here. For example, I would think that some of the people on the Heights may not know so much about Cascade Locks. It's just in general. Whereas ones that have farming areas and are a little bit more rural, they might understand a little bit more because we're kind of out there too. Cascade Locks is separate. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
I feel kind of the same. I haven't lived here 30 years, but I've lived here, I think, 12. And I have actually owned a business too, previous to COVID. And I don't feel that Cascade Locks has been represented well at all. The biggest things for me was our fire and EMS, which I understand is all volunteer and stuff, but whenever our high school kids aren't in our city, we can't recruit them to be firemen and stuff. The policing here is different than, Hood River County has the Hood River Sheriff and they have the City of Hood River Police Department. So I think that Cascade Locks for me, not being an old timer or whatever you want to call the people who have lived here forever, doesn't get the same attention. Same with the school, everything. And I think that it comes right down to even our garbage service. That's one of the things I didn't know. And this is just a little piece of information that has nothing to do with pretty much anything. But even the garbage service in Hood River County, you get, in the city of Hood River, you get different garbage service than we do here, even though it's the same company, the same price and everything. But we're not eligible for certain things because it's different in Cascade Locks. And that shouldn't be. Because when I look at their website and they're my company, I should be eligible for the same thing that the people that live in the city of Hood River are, even though I live in Cascade Locks, because there's no difference. It's not any cheaper, it's the same price, everything's the same, except the options are less if you live in the lots. So, and that goes down to a lot of different things, it's not just with the garbage, it's with the schools, with the policing, it's all over, you know? And that's my 2 cents on it.
All right. Any other comments?
Well,
Butch?
what I'm hearing quite a bit is people aren't satisfied with being represented, how they're being represented. And this kind of goes to what I was asking for is another representative. Here we have a chance to get somebody who's really high quality, and nothing against our current one, but I think Les is just so much better. And I would certainly like to see him take a shot with the sheriff. We have more in common with the Upper Valley than we do with the city of Hood River. Much like we have more in common with Eastern Oregon than we do with the east side of Portland, and we're going to get their representative for Congress. So
Yeah.
I would wholeheartedly support us going to District 4.
Any other comments? You'd like to add anything?
Julie, did you have anything?
I definitely, is that paperwork gonna be in my box so that I can look at it?
Sure, we'll get another copy.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until I see that.
Okay, thanks. Perfect. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I always enjoy things. Better watching TV.
I don't know, depends on what's.
But the last time I saw you, we were getting beer at the green.
Yeah, well, you can't do that every night.
That's right.
Thank you. All right. City Administrator Zimmerman report.
Thank you. This is our last meeting of the year. Have a happy New Year and a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you January 10th. Our holiday office schedule will be closed Thursday afternoon, December 23rd, Friday, December 24th, and Friday, December 31st. Finance officer, thanks guys again.
All right.
The question that Commissioner or Councilor Fallon had was how are we going to afford the difference? If you look back on the 3rd page, we're currently paying our finance director $34 an hour. We're going to advertise the new finance director at 90% of that. And so the first, we're annually it's $70,000 a year. And for this first 6 months, January through June, of the additional finance director is $31,000. Our utility billing clerk will be leaving at the end of January or end of December. And so we save, we have that amount of money available for that to fill that gap. And we've spent through December the $17,000. So we have $20,000 available to us for the last 6 months of the utility billing clerk position, which leaves us a gap of only $11,600. We could fill that gap from one of 3 funds down there. We have $27,000 in contingency. We have $9,000 in contract services miscellaneous that we don't think we're going to be spending. And our insurance bill came in cheaper than we thought, so we've got $4,800 there. So we have $4,100 to choose from in order to fill that.
41,000.
41,000, thank you, to fill that $11,000 gap. But we're not going to get a new finance director under January 1st. It's going to be impossible to do that. February 1st, maybe, most likely March 1st. So that last column is for 4 months, March, April, May, and June, which takes the total gap to fill less than $1,000. So we can tap that out of, again, any one of those 3 line items. I just want to let you know that it is doable to get that new finance director in here for at least 4 months of training. because our systems are, they're not complex, but they're not simple either. So we're gonna go, I have a copy of the ad out there for you to take a look at, and we updated the position description, taking out some things that we no longer offer, like salary range and those kinds of things. So that information is there for you to read. And we're going to go ahead and put an ad out for the finance director, and hopefully we'll find just the right person.
Where are you advertising?
We advertise on the state website, the Oregon Appointment. We advertise, will be on the League of Oregon Cities website. We'll be on the Columbia Gorge News website. We'll probably put one in the Oregonian, and we put one on the Oregon Municipal Finance Officers Association website. So we'll probably throw it on the Washington Municipal Finance Officers website too. But it gets pretty wide coverage. Again, it's probably going to be a regional. It's not a nationwide search because we're just really kind of tiny. But we'll be going forward with that. We did put out the advertisement for the management recruitment firm. We know it's going to be more than the $10,000 we set aside. So just to make you comfortable with that, when we sit down with negotiations, we'll offer the $10,000 down and the balance when they start, which would be in the next fiscal year. So we can handle what they throw at us and budget for it in the next fiscal year. So that's just for you to get your comfort level. We can't afford and we need to afford to do this in those two directions. City Council annual goal planning meeting. You can think about it, but we usually do it at the end of January, where we sit down and we talk about the goals for the city and what you want to do in the next fiscal year. That's the first step. Second step. First step is adopting a budget calendar. The second step is, what do you want to see done? And then we take that, the council goals, and we try and fit that into the budget so that we can put the normal resources against the stuff that you want to do. In the past few years, we've met at 6 o'clock, an hour before the second meeting of the month. This year, 2022, we have 5 Mondays in January. So if you didn't want to meet at 6 o'clock on the 24th, we can meet at 7 o'clock on the 31st. You don't have to decide tonight, but you can think about it when you would like to come for that goal planning session, if you want to. Is there any preference right now, or you just want to think about it?
I want to take a look at my calendar.
Okay. Dry Creek update. The engineer actually came out and walked the property with Sheldon. They came up with probably the best solution. He is engineering it now, and so he can give us a cost. So at our first meeting in January, we should have a good look at what the solution should be and what the cost should be. So that's a step in the right direction. Our wastewater facilities improvement project, the bid opening is this Thursday at 2 o'clock. Knowing COVID, knowing supply chain issues, knowing engineers, sometimes optimistic. We have a $5.6 million budget. I'm thinking it's going to become closer to $6.5 million. We have a luxury because we got the $2.5 million community development block grant. And the USDA, while they took away $1 million from the block because of the block grant, their grant portion, we still have $3 million available to borrow if necessary. We're planning current budget only to borrow 1.7 million, but if we have enough option room in the funding available to meet whatever the price should be for the construction. That being said, the supply chain issues will determine a lot of what we can do. The Oregon Health Authority did give us a extension to December of next year to have this project completed. We may have to go back to them and say, because of supply chain issues, we're gonna need another extension, but we're not stopping, we're going forward. So this next Thursday will give us a real good look at what it's gonna cost us. But it's like housing prices. They're just through the roof at the moment. So that's it. City council meetings will be broadcast. This broadcast will be available tomorrow. And like and share us on Facebook.
So question for you on the ad for Mary Ann's position. What date are you posting that?
I think we want the applications back in. Could we put one in the?
For what date are you advertising? Is it?
I don't know, because I wanted to talk to you about it first. It's open until filled, so we're gonna put it in before Christmas.
That would be.
Yeah, and we'll just see how the applications come in.
There's a few people that are very qualified who are interested, and they're just, I keep getting asked, when is it posted? When is it posted?
Well, it's gonna go on our
So,
website. And
Okay.
I'm sure Marilyn will put it on Facebook. We'll see it. We could just let them know.
That sounds good. And then question about Mary Ann, is her intent to be here all through June? Like it's
June 30th.
through June 30th?
Yes,
So,
we will both be here through June 30th.
but is it, if we get somebody trained sooner,
No,
then
she will be
to
here
go-
through June 30th.
she'll be here? So is she under contract like you?
She is not. She's just
Okay.
under agreement between her and me. Because we're both retiring at the end of December.
Right.
She's agreed to work through the end of the year to make that transition and training period as cohesive and less contiguous as possible.
Hmm.
She's not gonna leave early. And what we envision is a slow transition. The first duties that the new hire is gonna do is the utility billing clerk, which will be vacant as of January 1st. But Mary Ann will be the finance director. And as they cross-train by the end of June, Mary Ann will be the utility billing clerk. And then the other one, the new hire will be the finance director, but they're co-equals. And so after beginning probably in May, we will be advertising for a utility billing specialist to start July 1st to make that transition. That's kind of the trajectory we're trying to get to.
I'm not sure if the 18, because I mean, you can go to Taco Bell in Hood River and make 18 an hour these days. So I
Well,
don't
again,
know.
That's part of the budget process.
Right.
Um,
It's- I don't know.
But what we have more than Taco Bell is we've got pretty good insurance to allow
Right.
benefits. So,
Right.
but you're right.
Yeah, every person I know in business right now is really, really struggling hiring people.
Yeah, and even if they raise their salaries, it's still a struggle. And then what will happen is if the council decides, we need to pay $20 an hour or $22, which you can do, and maybe that's the direction you're going to give us during the goal planning session, then you also have to raise the rates because we do not have funding available to pay that kind of money for our public works. Does that,
Sounds
so,
like budget questions.
yeah.
Mhm.
Any other questions I can avoid?
I'm glad that that'll be posted by Christmas.
Yes,
Yeah.
it should be.
Will we be getting I really liked it when I went through the initiation as a new council member with you, when you gave me one sheet that had all the council dates on it for the whole year.
Okay.
Are we gonna get that again maybe in January?
I will have to ask Kathy to do that. It's the second and fourth Mondays, except for the fourth Monday in December. Is when our councils, I don't have sometimes the fourth Monday is Memorial Day and we won't have it on a holiday. But it's always the second, fourth Mondays. So you can put it into your phone.
Yeah,
Just
I go through the whole
recurring.
year and put things in. I know
Yeah.
it's, yeah, but that's me.
Yeah, that's second, and fourth Mondays.
Okay.
All right.
I'm
Is
done,
that- You're done?
unless you want more.
No.
Okay.
Oh, you're good. All right, so comments. City councilors, but you want to go first?
Okay, I'd like to thank staff for all their hard work, and I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas.
There we go.
And let's see, December 16th at 5 o'clock, there will be a children's Christmas party at the community church for those who are available to attend that. And I had the pleasure recently of visiting the school as part of the Lion's Eye program, testing the little kitty's eyes. And it's always just such a treat to be in there and to watch all these smiling little faces sometimes. Because I had one kid come up to me and try to hand me his tag and he zipped away before I could even test his eyes. So, but it's fun to be able to do those sort of things. And I wish we had a picture of it, but we had, my mother was there and my sister and myself. And then my grandnephew, who was a first grader there, came in to get his eyes tested. And he didn't know we were going to be there.
Oh.
And you should have seen how big his eyes got when he sees his great grandma and grandmother and all that there. And I'd like to thank Eric for being here, and please get on one of our committees. I know Jeremiah, I'd like to see you on the committee, but you got so much work to do. That I know you're going to stay in touch with us and keep attending. So, and there's a luncheon coming up in the year. So I hope you guys put your names in. And I'd like to thank Jeff Texel and Commission Chair Mike Coates for being here. It's always nice to see the county come here so we can talk to them. And that's all I got.
Tammy?
I was wondering if we could put on the calendar for January 10th to figure out who's going to be representing council on the Port City monthly meetings via Zoom. Richard was on that. I don't know if we wanted to assume that Pete would be on it or if that's something that we should discuss.
I thought I took Richard's spot.
I'm sorry?
So I took Richard's spot.
Okay. And then Kathy was the other one that was on there. I know that's been hard for you to make. So
Bobby was taking that spot, but maybe Pete will take Bobby's spot.
yeah, so we need to figure that out.
That's
Talk
good.
about
That's a
that.
good question.
That's good on January 10th.
Okay.
So.
I'm pleased the way the post office is trying to mend things with town folk. They've been doing an Operation Santa, which I thought was really good of them, where kids could write in and drop off their letters to Santa there. And then also you probably have noticed that some of the school students have put their pictures up in the windows, and I encourage that. I just love seeing that in businesses. It makes the kids feel good to see their picture, and the parents are proud. And anyway, I'm in big support of that. I'd like to thank everyone who had anything to do with the bridge lighting. It was a lot of fun. And went a little bit smoother than last time when it was all new, especially with the drive-through the school. Worked out very well. let's see here. I was recently sent information about the warming station in Hood River. I know as a town, we're unable to have one here, but I posted it both at the post office and on Facebook and at Columbia Market. So they are open 24 hours. So if you see anyone who may need to get warm, because I mean, it's getting cold, their phone number and their hoodrivercares.org is the organization. And they have that available in Hood River, open for Cascade Locks people. And I'd like to also thank all the applicants that applied for council. I love it. I love seeing people getting involved, and like Butch said, we'll be having openings for council actually next November. So don't give up.
Get on the ballot.
Yeah, get on there. And that's all I got.
Brenda?
I don't have too much. I had on my list about Dry Creek, so I'm excited that we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do for them people. And then I just had some, I guess I have some concerns, not that it, about the finance officer. And I guess I'm struggling with how we're not gonna have a utility billing clerk as of the end of the year. But we're not gonna maybe have somebody in that position till February, and then you're gonna take that person that's overloaded already to do the job and be training somebody. I think that's a lot.
We agree with you, and our staff has picked up and they are learning the position so they can help Mary Ann to get that done
Okay.
during that transition.
Yeah, because I could see where that would just be so overwhelming and
Yeah.
and all of that.
We share those same concerns, but we're working on how to overcome that.
And then to just be, our accounting is like a big deal in any business, whether it's government, your personal business or whatever. And if we don't spend the time to get the right person and get them trained and all this, because I never knew that there's so many different books in this city hall itself here, because you have utilities, you have water, you have all these different books. So there's not just one checkbook, you have multiples, and you have budgets, and you've got billings, and you got all the everyday stuff, the IT stuff, HR stuff. I mean, the list goes on, and I don't think it's to anybody's surprise that that position has a heck of a job description. And I hope that we allow and are able to allow and budget the money that it will take to get the right person trained, so it doesn't wind up being a big disaster, because it very well could be, if not closely, because I mean, the list goes on and on. So I'm hoping that there's extra help because that is a lot, because you're gonna be down one person and everybody's gonna chip in and and all that. Will you guys, so you both will retire the end of December? Will you you won't do a retirement party until June because you're staying? I mean,
I hope
just
we
so
don't.
I'm straight.
Well, neither Mary Ann or I want a retirement party,
Okay,
but we have other staff. It's not gonna be till the end of June, so we actually,
okay.
yeah, I don't wanna have a retirement party in December. And then stick around for 6
Happy
months.
holidays.
Yeah.
And then is the projected finance director, is that the 30, 60 an hour? Is that what we're posting?
It's they're the second in command. When July 1st, they will go up to the $34 an hour.
So I would have thought we could have gone a little lower just as they're starting out. And
Well, we're
then
trying to
build them
attract-
up to it as the responsibilities are built up.
Well, we're trying to attract capable people to begin with.
And I get that Taco Time and Panda Express and all them are $21 an hour or whatever, I get that, but you also, if the person lives in town, you don't have that commute and stuff as well. But I also get that we're a little bitty town in our budget. When you're in budget committee and stuff, and we're like trying to hammer this out, this, you know, it's a lot, and I understand that, you know, that is what they'll get, but while we are in transition, I would think that it would be a little bit lower rate, because you really, they're just coming in as a utility billing clerk at first.
Well, yeah, but we don't think that's gonna last long. We want to give them this is what you're earning now, to encourage them to come, knowing that at July 1st, you're gonna get a 10% bump. So it's an incentive to come now, knowing that in the future you will get, or you're gonna get that for sure, is what we're trying to do.
So, what insurance would you have as like the city, like if that person, they look good on paper and everything, and they get in, they actually are not a good fit?
That's the risk you take with any hire.
Right. Cause that's why I was thinking lab and utility billing, that way at least maybe you wind up with utility billing.
Well, you know, we hope to have somebody that's familiar with the Cassell operating system, the accounting that we use. It's nationwide. We hope we have somebody that's had experience as an assistant for a town, maybe a little larger. Coming down, they want to be a big fish in a small town. So, and we have the gorge to attract them. So but you're right. We do have proficiency exams that we will give them. We will do background checks. We will, check the references. We will do as thorough a job as we can to make sure that we identify the right person.
It's gonna definitely be a combo. Because housing's very limited here. And
Well, absolutely.
yeah,
And that's, and at $30 an hour, you're not gonna be able to afford the new houses that are here, but you might be able to get,
right.
but,
It's,
with chances are they're gonna commute from Gresham. Maybe there's somebody in Stevenson or whoever who wants to come down.
what's the benefit? I'm curious. Is that their highest and best use of time if they're being hired for Marianne's position, but they're gonna come in and just do a utility clerk?
That's the first step.
So-
You gotta learn the system. So
Yeah.
because if you're gonna supervise the system, you better have worked the system, the utility billing.
So how long is that person anticipated being a billing clerk?
As long as if they
Right.
pick it up faster, we will do the transition as fast as we can, but there's so many areas that you have to learn.
Right.
And they're gonna share the duties, they're gonna work together.
Does Marianne, is she prepared? Does she have like a manual written out, like a map for when somebody comes in? This is the systems, this is
Oh, yeah.
it in a binder and ready to go and
I don't know if it's in the binder.
or somewhere where it's
But
accessible?
we know what the system,
Right.
and you're gonna start learning the accounting system. That's the
Right.
number one, the best way to learn it.
Right. I know we talked about it, that with any job position, they have some sort of, expectations or here a list more than it's
Well-
written more than just verbal.
Well, the other issue you got is the budget process is a 6-month long process. So you will be going through the budget process together as you go through it. We hope by the end of that process, you will know the process.
Right.
The only thing that we won't have coverage in is the audit process, which is the last half of the year. Here's another issue for you. Our auditor said they're getting out of the audit business. They're going to honor the contract. We've got another 2 years with them. But they're going to access or transition to a city project management firm. So in 2023, we'll be looking for a new auditor. Which is okay, because we've had this one, that'll be 9 years, I think, but it's time to cut that one. But, the auditors are there to hold your hand and train you to do the audit. But we got to get through the budgeting process, we got to get through HR, insurance, And a lot of that learning will be as they go through the budget process, but they're gonna be, married at the hip
Yeah.
and, working side by side so that when Mary Ann leaves, we hope the person will be comfortable with all of the things that
Mhm.
Mary Ann does. Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda, anything else?
That's all I had. I just have a lot of concern around that. And just everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. That's it.
Mayor Walker?
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to thank the folks that came out to volunteer for the position. And I wanted to thank a couple of the folks that are on the present council that could have been chosen as council president. I want to thank Butch. Butch has done a fine job for us representing the city with some of the meetings that he goes to, and I really appreciate Butch's initiative. Brenda, you've been kind of the I don't know, I'll call it the head of the money department. You excel in reminding us the importance of each and every dollar, and I appreciate that about you. Tamara, you've always kind of been the voice of reason. You're very calm, and I appreciate that. But I told everybody the reasons that I chose Kathy, and I just think she'll do a great job for us. Gordon, I want to thank you for your work, and thank staff. I want to thank everybody, the Port of Cascade Locks for the bridge lighting, and everybody that was involved with the activities afterwards. Everything's looking good. I'll be home in a couple days and check things out. And hopefully there's no snow on the ground when I get there. But I want to tell everybody have a happy holiday, and God bless us all. And let's hope for a calmer and quieter world in the coming year, and a much healthier one. So Merry Christmas, everybody, and God bless us. Thank you.
Mayor Walker, when are you coming home?
I'll be home in 3 days.
No, it could be over.
Snowshoe, we're getting 100% chance of snow on Wednesday, they say.
Well, I'll just turn the plane around then.
Stay an extra day.
All right, and Julie, is she?
She left us a
She
little.
left, okay. Gosh, first of all, thank you so much, City candidates. Really, really appreciate it. Yes, there's a new election coming up in 2022. I encourage you to get on a ballot and run if you're interested, and then still get on a committee if you can. There's so many. There's so many different organizations and fundraisers and everything to go through. There's just a lot. Jeremiah, looking forward to working with you on the city meet and greet, hopefully this next summer. We haven't got to that far yet to plan it again, but I really appreciate your participation. I saw your comments and encouraging everybody, and it meant a lot. So I really like that. Thank you to city staff, as always. You guys just keep us on track with all this paperwork, and Gordon, thank you for all of your hard work this year as well. And then thank you to everyone who worked so hard on the bridge lighting. It was really nice. It just feels amazing. And every time it's like come home and I see the snowflakes and I'm just happy. It's like it's home. So it means so much, and the kids had a great time, and it was just phenomenal. Thank you to Thunder Island. On the bridge lighting day, they allowed Deb Lorang and myself to be in, and we sold tickets, raffle tickets, and we sold out for the museum. So that was very generous of them to let us be down there. I thank them for that. Definitely safe travels to Mayor Walker and his wife. And also thank you, Mayor Walker, for your confidence, and I will try my best here. So then these other ones, we got that. And then also I met an interesting individual on Sunday who he's in Wasco, and he's been like the mayor, he's volunteer fire, I mean, he's an RN, I mean, he just all these different things. But I started asking him about policing questions, like how do you guys get money? What does the police look like out there? So I'm gonna have more meetings with him, and just because I want to see. And he talked about some really interesting stuff. He goes, we just get grant writers and they get a percentage of it. But so anyway, I'm looking into that to see. It's not just as easy to just say get a grant writer, but they've had a lot of success, and he's been in quite a few different hands. So I was excited about that. And then also, I just wanted to say congratulations to the whole city council. And I mean, holy cow, 4 of us were new. So we made it 1 year. So we got 1 year down. And so I just really want to thank Mayor Walker, Julie, the whole council. It's been really a pleasure this year, and the city as well. It's a big learning curve. I've been on lots of boards, but never a city council. So, but I'm just really proud of everybody. So, and I really appreciate that. And just want to say Merry Christmas and have a blessed and happy New Year, and have a cozy time on Wednesday when we get snow. So
Only in
anyway,
the morning. It'll be raining.
probably. Anyway, thank you. That's all I have. All right. Any other comments or? All right.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Thank you all.